My nephew, he is adopted. Welcome back to Real Reddit Moments, where we explore real life, controversial, and emotional stories from Reddit. Today, we dive into a story that delves into truth, family, and the limits of honesty. When a big secret is revealed at the wrong time, will the truth make things better, or just tear a family apart? The story is titled, AITA for telling my nephew he is adopted? Brace yourself. This story is more than just a family argument. It's a whirlwind of emotions, a test of morality, and a confrontation between the past, the present, and the inevitable consequences. This story comes from a Reddit user named @UThrowRayAdoptionTalk. We will call her OP, a woman in her mid-30s, living in a small town, having a close relationship with her brother's family. But just because of one sentence, OP became the one who was harshly criticized by the whole family, just because of telling the truth that no one should have hidden forever. It all started at a 13th birthday party of OP's nephew, named Aiden. It was a small party in the backyard with cake, food, balloons, and familiar people. In the eyes of everyone, this was a wonderful anniversary. But for OP, the atmosphere became awkward from the moment she walked in the gate. Because OP knew something that almost no one but Aiden's parents knew. Aiden was adopted. Aiden was adopted when he was a baby. OP's brother and sister-in-law were unable to have children, and after years of trying, they adopted Aiden through a legal agency. Initially, they said they would tell him when the time is right. But now, Aiden is 13. And according to OP, it's time for him to know the truth. At the party, Aiden innocently asked OP a question. "Auntie, why don't I look like my parents at all?" OP laughed. But then Aiden asked again, as if he had been thinking about it for a long time. "Am I adopted?" And then, in a moment of genuine sincerity, OP nodded. Less than an hour later, OP was dragged into the house, facing her brother and sister-in-law in a rage. Her sister-in-law's face was red, and OP's brother was gritting his teeth. "What right do you have to talk about that? That's his parents' business." OP tried to explain that Aiden had suspected for a long time, that hiding things was no longer appropriate, that the boy deserved to know the truth about himself. But all OP got in return was heavy silence. Then a no-door declaration. Aiden, who asked first, was the only one who didn't get angry. But from that day on, OP was no longer allowed to talk to the boy privately. The family limited interaction, the family chat group no longer had OP's name, and the weekend dinner disappeared without a trace. A week later, OP took the initiative to apologize. Not because she felt wrong for telling the truth, but because she had broken the family atmosphere. But silence was still what OP got in return. OP's sister-in-law burst into tears, saying, "You broke the most precious thing we have, our child's mental safety." OP's brother was blunt. "If he rebels or alienates us in the future, it will be your fault." OP left with a heavy heart. But in her mind, OP only had one thing in mind. Aiden deserved to know. And if OP was the only one who dared to speak up, then no matter what the consequences, OP couldn't pretend that question had never been asked. If a child asks you about his own truth, and if you know you lie again, are you still a trustworthy adult? Immediately after OP posted, the Reddit community erupted into a fierce debate. The post quickly surpassed 30,000 upvotes in just 24 hours, with thousands of comments on all three sides: support, neutrality, and harsh criticism. The majority of comments were on OP's side. Many people who were adopted or had experienced the feeling of having their true identity hidden spoke up in support of OP's decision. One user shared, "As an adopted person, I wish someone had dared to tell me sooner. Hiding just made me feel like my whole childhood was a lie." Another wrote, Aiden asked first. OP's honest response is an act of respecting the child's intelligence and emotions. Many comments emphasized, OP did not spread the news. OP only answered honestly when asked directly. If anyone is wrong, it is the boy's parents for delaying for so long. Some of the comments were more neutral and objective. They didn't deny that Aiden should know the truth, but they thought OP should have handled the situation more tactfully. OP should have avoided it and said, that's something you should ask your parents about. No one is saying OP is wrong to tell the truth, but a secret like that should be revealed in a planned way, not at a birthday party with cake and balloons. OP doesn't deserve to be dumped, but she should learn to assess the situation before she acts. Of course, there were also some Redditors who were harshly critical of OP. You're the aunt, not the mother. You crossed the line. The love and trust that Aiden's parents have for each other is at stake, and you're the one who broke it. Some of the more scathing comments read, you are not the one to make that choice, no matter what the boy asked. You hurt a whole family. The top comment that caused a stir, info. The boy asked. You answered truthfully. So is your family angry because you told the truth? Or because they are too afraid to face it? This comment received more than 20,000 upvotes, became the top comment under the post, and opened a new wave of debate. Should the truth be prioritized? Or do families have the right to hide if they think it is protecting their child? The topic, when should you tell your child you are adopted, became a big discussion after this post, spreading to other subreddits such as r parenting, r adoption, and r true off my chest. Some Redditors who are psychologists and family counselors also commented, suggesting children should be informed early with an age-appropriate approach, not from an outsider. The article was also quoted on Twitter, TikTok, and popular Reddit podcasts, with often sensational titles such as, Auntie revealed a shocking secret on her nephew's birthday, right or wrong? After a strong response from the Reddit community, OP returned to the post to update the situation. OP's family had a private meeting. After a few days of Cold War, Aiden's parents, OP's sister and brother-in-law, invited OP in for a frank talk. They admitted that they should have taken the initiative to tell Aiden the truth sooner, but kept putting it off because they didn't know when the right time was. Aiden wasn't angry with OP. On the contrary, he felt respected. According to OP's sister, Aiden seemed confused at first, but then calmed down. He asked, why didn't Mom and Dad tell you sooner? And when asked how he felt about learning the truth from OP, he said, I asked my aunt because I believe she never lies. The family is working with a psychologist to support Aiden. The couple scheduled a family counselor to help Aiden understand the adoption process and how to deal with the truth in a positive way. OP was not directly involved in the process, but was kept in touch. OP was unbanned. Although OP was initially banned from family events, after Aiden shared that he wasn't mad at his aunt and wanted to see her again, his parents invited OP back to family dinners, as a first step towards reconciliation. OP doesn't regret telling the truth, but she wishes she could have done it in a safer setting, with better preparation for Aiden. OP understands that not everyone is ready to face the truth, especially his parents, but she can't bear to see her nephew living in doubt and hurt because of the lack of transparency. After what happened, OP learned one thing: the truth should always be told, but it should be accompanied by empathy, listening, and appropriate timing. OP also sent thanks to the Reddit community for not only supporting but also providing mature and thoughtful perspectives, helping OP adjust the way she communicates with her family, especially on sensitive topics. Conflicting emotions in the story. OP stands between two forces. On one side is personal morality and responsibility for Aiden, a child who is hurting because of the lack of truth, and on the other side is the obligation to respect the decision of the boy's parents. Guilt, anger, helplessness. all blend into a deep internal conflict. Aiden's parents carry within themselves fear. Fear of hurting their child. Fear of losing their place in the child's heart. Fear of losing control. Although it is out of love, that fear makes them choose to hide, a way of protection that can have long-term consequences. Aiden, despite being young, is the one who reacts most maturely. He does not blame, does not get angry. He simply wants to be respected and to know about himself. OP's post not only caused a storm but also created a deep debate about the right to know of adopted children, the line between honesty and interference. Many comments supported the OP, saying, "If the child is suspicious and asks directly, the adult should not continue to lie." Some neutral people advised the OP to choose a more tactful way of speaking, to prepare in advance, or to invite a professional to intervene. A few comments criticized the OP for overstepping her authority and taking away the opportunity for Aiden's parents to tell the truth in their own way. However, most agreed that the truth needed to be told, and Reddit acted as a spiritual healing community, helping the OP see more clearly the consequences, both positive and negative, of her actions. Character analysis. OP. Although sometimes impulsive and reacting emotionally, the OP has a heart of justice and unconditional love for Aiden. She is not afraid of being a bad person, only afraid of the child living in doubt. Aiden's parents? They are the epitome of those who want to control the family narrative, but miss the opportunity to trust their children with honesty. Aiden. The youngest character but leaves the biggest impression. His initial silence, his innocent but sharp question, and his mature acceptance of the truth all show that children sometimes understand things much better than adults think. Lessons learned. The truth should not be postponed indefinitely. Protection by lying can do more harm than good. Children deserve to know the truth about themselves, when they are ready to ask. When a child asks, it means they are mature enough to hear the answer. Love and respect are not incompatible with honesty. Telling the truth may hurt, but it is the foundation for building true trust. And that's the whole touching but controversial story, revolving around the question, was OP wrong to tell her nephew that he was adopted? There may not be an absolute right answer, but through this story, we understand that kindness is sometimes not easy to accept, and the truth, even if it hurts, is still necessary for healing. What do you think? If it were you, would you tell Aiden? Do you sympathize with OP or with Aiden's parents? Leave a comment below, and if you want to hear more hot stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Real Reddit Moments, where real-life dramas become real moments of reflection. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.